Well, hello and welcome to my Avro Lancaster, the Dambusters special Airfix build. Been doing these for about 6 months now. This is about my fifth build. It's quite an intricate piece. In the box, obviously you've got your instructions and everything. I'll need them in a minute. And there's the pieces. I'm not going to really need any of these today because the reason being is that I've already started this build. And basically, I've only just started it, so I just wanted to show you what I've done so far, and then we'll move on from there. But you know, we've got a lot of canopy pieces there, a lot of glass work, so plenty of masking for later on to do. It's not too bad. Transfers, which I've used some of already, and then we've got the colour scheme. So when I do the colour scheme, I'm going to go for this, for this style, and that's what I'll be, you know, aiming for. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Okay, so this is what I've done so far. We've got the fuselages that I've been preparing, ready for sticking together. I've also been kind of just building the cockpit up a little bit as well. Because of the softness of the airbrushing, the paint in here, obviously there's a few marks which I need to rectify as well. So put a bit of detail in last night there, and we've got the old I think that's like the bombing kind of apparatus they used to use when they used to you know, try and aim the bombs and get the alignment ready for dropping them on the lakes. But my main job really, there's the other fuselage which I've done inside. Again, just to replicate some of the colours there and some of the detail. Everything's been airbrushed inside, and yeah, it's looking okay. All the glass work's in there. So my main job tonight really is to just touch up some of the paintwork in there, only little bits. I've got the gun apparatus here to assemble as well, so a lower gunner before we glue everything together, and a little seat as well, so I'll stick them in. And I'm also going to kind of just touch up a little bit and varnish the inside, just a couple of little coats, nothing special, just to make that nice, and glue both sides together. So I'm not going to show you this stage of the process because I just want to show you what you know, what happens next, because unfortunately I don't have a stand for my camera, and I've got to use two hands to hold it, which is a pain in the rectum, but that's fine, we can deal with that later. So on to the next step. Okay, so far I've been sticking stuff in, as you can see, a little seat there, and I've given a little bit of a varnish there, only one coat, you know, just to give it a little bit of a shine. On the other side, again, just stuck on some more glass, the gun attachment, and just touched up a little bit inside, not too much, it doesn't need a lot to be fair, and again just gone over with a bit of varnish, and we are ready for sticking these two halves together. This is quite a complex bit, and there's probably going to be a lot of swearing involved, but the paints that I used to touch this up, we've got Humbrol 33, Humbrol acrylic 33 there, black, and that's not too bad for airbrushing. They're alright for airbrushing as well when thinned down, but I've been recommended to use Vallejo, something like that. These are just standard brushing paints really. They're, you know, they're not really made for airbrushing. You can airbrush, but you've got to thin them real down and add some retardant as well. So it's a bit of a pain, but these really go on nicely with a brush as well, and the pigments in these kind of paints you know, stand out a lot more. So that's what I've been touching up with. to stick the glass in over there, and you know, in the fuselage itself I've used Humbrol Clear Fix. It doesn't kind of snow the glass up or wreck the glass in any way. It dries to a clear consistency. You know, you can see, look, there's just nothing there, you know, really. It's not knackered the plastic up. And then for my varnish, I just use a bit of clear gloss, Humbrol Clear Gloss varnish. Okay, so both halves of the fuselage have now been stuck together, and we've used masking tape, etc. I'm going to leave this to dry now, give it a considerable amount of time to set, but yeah, everything's kind of together. Cockpit, if you can see that. You can see everything in the cockpit, and there's the little table at the back, etc. So, not without its issues putting together. It does happen. So what I'm going to do now is, when this is dry, I'm going to tidy all this up and fill the fuselage line down, because it's kind of underneath as well. Got to be a bit of a careful with this gun, because I can see that snapping at some point, so I've got to be uber careful with that. Good bit of filler there, you know. And then once that's tidied up, and I will endeavour to mask these little windows. I'll show you what I use in a moment, but that'll be kind of ready for painting for the fuselage. And then the next step really then is to build these wings up. So these are the wing struts, and I've bent them a little bit putting them in. It does happen, it's one of those things, but once the other pieces are in there and the wings on, you won't even see those, and they'll look all straight and everything. So yeah, that'll be it. So I'm going to let this to dry for a good while. Also, I should explain, some of you might be thinking, why did he paint the entire inside of this fuselage when you can't see it? Yeah, it's a good question, and there is a reason for it. Obviously, I wanted to get good coverage in there so you can't see any gaps, etc. You know, that's looking nice and tidy and everything. But really what it is, I've got that new paint Vallejo, which I mentioned earlier, and it doesn't really go well through an airbrush unless you thin it. And I was just kind of playing with my setup. I thought, well, people aren't going to see the inside of this, so I can use that just to practice my technique and get my paint ready and know what ratio I need to thin it down by, and just to test to see how it lays on, you know. So, you know, just a learning curve, innit? Sorted. We know what's happening. Okay, so while I'm waiting for the filler to harden, what I'm going to do in the meantime is start painting these pieces here. These are all black. I'm going to airbrush all these. I'll keep them on the sprue like that. It's easier to handle. And then I've got to paint the inner wings, but kind of only these areas here on the wings. And we've got black in the middle. We've got uniform green there, or cockpit green, on both sides. So that's what we'll get on with whilst we're waiting for that. And then I can sand that down and we can build these wings up. Okay, for the painting stage then, got my airbrush there. I've got the Vallejo 85 German uniform colour, same colour as the interior, the fuselage. Got some retarder, because this stuff airbrushing, it does dry at the tip, and having some retarder just slows down the drying time of it, and it should flow a lot better. I'm still got quite a bit of the Humbrol 33 black left, and we painted some of that as well, and we're thinning it all down with water. Really, there's no need for any alcohol thinners. No, I don't do drugs. That's my airbrush cleaner. It's just easier to get right to the nozzle when I need it, and then some airbrush cleaner in a little glass jar to help flush out. And then there's my paint cup. So I'm not going to prime these parts because they're interior parts. It's, you know, I'm only going to prime the body of the model when it's all built up. But no, I'll crack on with that. I'll show you the next bit in a minute. Okay, everything for the next stage has been painted. So that's gone black. We only need to paint certain areas of the inner of the wing. A lot of that, I know there's a lot of overspray there, but you will not see that whatsoever. The main point is there's the visible parts are all they're all painted nicely. The fuselage has been filled and sanded down. It does still look a bit untidy, and inevitably, yes, it did snap off the little gun at the bottom, but never mind, eh? So next job now really is to put these wings on, and I've masked the windows. You can just make out the purple tinge of the maskol on the windows there. I just need to mask off this the bomb bay at the bottom there that's going to hold the bouncing bomb, and then stick the wings on, and then as we move forward and it builds up, we'll get in a position then when I'll be able to prime it all up and finish the paint scheme. So I'll get the wings on now. So what we've done so far then, we've got all the struts done, and the painted wings are now attached. All looking good. Just need to paint that black because I've got a plan which I'll explain in a moment, but first let's just attach the under of the wings, just complete the wing section, and then really we need to leave this to dry for a while then. Okay, so what we have now, I've got to leave this to dry before we go to the next stage, but I've painted the top where the canopy is going to go over. I'll be doing that soon, putting the canopy on and getting it masked up beforehand. I've now finished masking underneath. There's cotton wool in these little vents with some masking tape. Obviously all the undercarriage pieces in there are all masked off, etc. So started experimenting with the maskol to tack a piece on. So there's a piece on here. I'm just going to see if it'll lift off okay for when I don't need it, but it seems to stay on when I put it upside down. So let's just see if this will lift off. Yes, it will. There we are. So I can use maskol or liquid, any kind of liquid latex there, to tack that on. So I'm going to busy myself now, and what we're going to do is just use maskol just to fill in anything here that I didn't get with the tape. So I've got an empty pot. I get these from the range, about 10 for £1. Little crafting pots. They come with plastic lids as well, really handy for mixing paints in, or for this purpose I'm going to decant some maskol into it. It's just easier. You can see where I'm dipping my brush. There we go. Now maskol dries quite quickly. You've got to keep your brush wet. If you don't and it dries on the brush, you'll have a hell of a job getting it out of it. It washes off well wet. Okay. Okay, so we're making steady progress with this now. The canopy is on and is all masked up, and we have the front turrets on, masked up. They've already been painted as well, and we have also the rear turret as well, all masked up and all painted. So we're pretty much ready for a coat of primer now. I'll need a bit of a clean before I put the primer on. I've got some these paint surface, what's it called? Sorry, paint preparation wipes from Alfred's. They only cost about £1.50, and they're safe from plastics. It'll just do the job just to clean this up before the primer goes on. So obviously all underneath is all masked, as we know. It's pretty much ready to go. But what I want to do before I even get to that stage, we're going to need to just kind of colour in the canopy here. The reason being is I've got white primer, so if I just put primer on here, when you look through the glass you'll be able to see white bars, and I want black bars from the inside. So we'll give this two or three light coats of black and let that dry fully then before cleaning it up and putting the primer on. So I'm just going to get set up here, ready for spraying. Okay, so we're ready to prime the model now. I've already done the underneath just to see how the primer went on. It went on quite nicely. I'll show you that in a moment. It didn't need to be thin, but what we've got to do first of all is prep the painting area. Now I've got these paint preparation wipes from Halfords, and they're only £1.50, something like that, and they're suitable for plastic, and they do clean up nicely. So it's just a case of just rubbing the area just gently, just giving it a little clean. You see there, all that gum's coming off. Prepares the area just nicely for you, ready to airbrush. So I've sprayed the underside and I've just taken the mask off to see what it looks like. The masking tape can always go back on, that's not a problem at all if I need to do any touching up or anything like that. The paint's dried on quite well, looks good, quite happy with it. What I decided to do, because underneath has now had like a coat of primer and obviously coats of this black paint as well. And I thought, well, what I'm going to do is just take the mask off just to see how it looks. I mean, the next stage that I was going to do, I had some mask here, you know, some of the liquid latex here. because one of the things I was going to do is kind of just give it a couple of coats of clear as well, just to help protect the paintwork, you know, after building up the undercarriage as well, which I've painted now. That's all ready to go on. But basically, like I said, I'm still learning really, and the polyurethane primer is really hard, and taking it off of the glasswork, the liquid latex, caused a few, well, it just brought up a couple of issues, you know, a bit of flakiness there, you know, lots of loose paint that I had to actually cut off, you know, with my blade. So I think learning from that, I will need to remask these, but I think I need to take the liquid latex off, you know, after each main coat is dried, rather than adding further coats on there that would harden up and make it difficult, etc. You know, when you're laying coats on. So, you know, a bit of faff, but I think it's needed. Now, problem is that I had, whilst there's two bits of glasswork here, right, and whilst I was trying to take the liquid latex out, these popped out. So I got a bit of a problem now to fill these in. So I'm not going to show you this process here, because I've literally just rubbed it back with some acrylic thinner back to the primer, and then really kind of finely just sanded it as well, using really fine grit, you know, really high grit, and it smoothed it off quite and polished it off quite nicely. So I'm going to do another little video of how to repair these. I mean, this is the first time I've tried doing something like this as well, so, you know, I'll be interested to see what the outcome is. But I'm going to crack on with that now, get that done, get this looking nice. I'm going to cut out all the bits of mascol that I put on here and then relay it on there as well. Give it another quick spray and then get the undercarriage built up. But I'm not going to show you the filling process on this. You know, that'll be in a separate clip. Okay, so I'll get cracking with that. So the underside of the plane has been repaired. I'll show you that in a minute, and I'm going to assemble the undercarriage and all the underneath of the plane. Once that's all assembled, we'll varnish a little bit, not too much, and then once it's all set, we can do the paint job on the top. So these are all the parts that I've already painted already. They're all ready to pretty much go on. So I'm going to get this done now. It's just easier to do it now out of the way before I varnish, and then it will look. So everything's ready now for me to start painting the camouflage scheme. I'm just mixing my paint here. We're at the last stages of the build now. Since painting, I've just done a few little jobs off camera. We've given a couple of coats of varnish, and I've demasked the canopy and just tidied that up a little bit. It's the first time I've done one of those kind of canopies, and I'm pleased with the outcome so far. Tail fins have been attached on, bottom fins have been, the flaps there have been attached on, and just the bouncing bomb, bit of general tidying up. So pretty much last stages now. So my plan, all I have to glue on now and attach on are the propellers. There's 4 of them here, and they've all been painted, they're all ready to go on. Once these are on, it's just then a case of finishing off varnishing, another 1 or 2 little coats, and then we're looking at decals then, and then we're done. Now we've finished the model now, finally, all done. We've had a few hiccups since the last couple of scenes. I did a separate video with the Decals, and had a real big problem with them. The stuff that I did use kind of just ate through the varnish and the paint, and it's the first time it's ever done that, so I was a little bit disappointed. I had to look into getting some alternative solutions to put my decals on. So I've settled with Microsol, Microset. When used together, they give a really good result, to be fair. I then had some issues with the varnish. Once I got the decals on, it just left white streaks everywhere. So I had to just touch everything up with a little bit of paint just to cover up the white streaks. There's 1 or 2 left, not too much, that's kind of escaped the paint touching up. And then to get some different stuff, I shipped in from America via Amazon some Future. This is Future, this is just in its new packaging. It cost about £12. It'll last me for ages. It took a couple of weeks to come as well, and it really does put a nice finish on the model there. You know, I mean, what I can do if I wanted to go further with this, we can put some matte varnish on, just to take it back to matte, but I quite like it with a little bit of gloss on there. It looks nice and new. But yeah, a lot of learning went off building this. So I'm very pleased with the results. It's done quite nicely. So I think on with the next project now. But I'll leave you with some shots, some close-up shots of some of the work and some pictures that I took there. So until next time.